The new legislation will enable the Minister of Public Safety to declare the existence of a human smuggling event and make those involved subject to the Act's measures. It will make it easier to prosecute human smugglers. It will impose mandatory minimum prison sentences on convicted human smugglers, and it will hold ship owners and operators to account for the use their ships are put to in human smuggling operations. The legislation contains measures such as preventing those who come to Canada as a part of a human smuggling event from applying for permanent resident status for a period of 5 years, including those who successfully obtain refugee status. It will also ensure that the health benefits that participants receive are not more generous than received by the Canadian public. It will enhance the ability to terminate refugee applications of those who return to their country of origin or their home country for a vacation, or demonstrate in other ways that they are not legitimately in need of Canada's protection. And it will prevent.
In the past year, with the arrival in particular of 2 vessels organized by criminal human smuggling syndicates operating in Southeast Asia, who have sent 2 vessels to our west coast with collected together some 600, 550 marine migrants who paid, we estimate, some $50,000 each to board dangerous, old, leaky vessels to cross the Pacific Ocean and to come to Canada in the worst way possible. These arrivals have significantly undermined public support for immigration and for Canada's policy of refugee protection. And that is why the government feels that we have a responsibility to act, to send a clear message to the people smugglers that their dangerous exploitation will not be accepted by Canada. Now, some people, in fact, the majority of Canadians in public opinion polling say that we should do everything necessary, including up to the use of force, to stop these smuggling vessels from entering Canadian waters, and that even if people arrive and are deemed to have bona fide refugee claims, that we should return them to their country of origin, notwithstanding our legal obligations. That is clearly what the majority of people have said since the arrival of the Sun Sea 2 months ago. But this government believes that Canada must maintain our humanitarian tradition of protection for newcomers. We will not risk people's lives, even if they come in this dangerous and illegal way. And we will continue respect for Canada's domestic and international legal obligations to provide protection for people who our legal system deems in risk of persecution, torture, or loss of life if returned to their country of origin.
Well, clearly we do receive the vast majority of our refugee and illegal migrants through air and through land border crossings. They don't attract the same attention from the media and from the public as do these migrant vessels. And that's not to say that we don't need to take particular steps in that respect. The legislation that we're dealing with today in terms of mass arrivals doesn't only apply to those vessels, but it in fact also applies to, let's say, a large group coming by plane and concurrently everyone claiming refugee status, or by land crossing as well. So it is applicable in that case as well. Obviously, one of the prime motivators for the government moving with this legislation now was the Ocean Lady and the MV Sun Sea and the threat of other vessels arriving here in Canada. But it is obviously a broader problem that we need to address in order to maintain the legitimacy of our immigration and refugee system and the confidence that the public should have in what is a generous system broadly supported by Canadians.
If I could just add to we acknowledge, as Minister Toews just said, that obviously it's likely that people are smuggled into Canada, arriving through land or at our airports. And it is possible that the minister would designate such a mass arrival as a human smuggling event under this legislation. To give you one example, in May of last year, a flight arrived at Pearson Airport from Prague. There were I think about 90 passengers on board. About 50 of whom went on to file asylum claims, and they were clearly all organized, part of the same group. Now that same group, largely speaking, there have recently been, as you may be aware, criminal prosecution in the Hamilton area on human trafficking charges involving that flow of false asylum seekers. And so, if the minister could find evidence that the 50 people coming off a plane had their tickets bought by, had their travel arranged by, and their whole arrival and their asylum claims coached by a smuggling syndicate, then the minister could designate that, for example, as a human smuggling event, and the people, and both the smugglers and their customers in that case would face the enhanced provisions of the legislation you'll see. Well, I'm not sure I agree with you that people need to hire a smuggler to find protection. There are, according to the United Nations, 12 million convention refugees around the world. Most of those, they'll talk about Africa, for example, there are, I think, 2 million refugees from Zimbabwe and South Africa. They didn't hire a smuggler, they walked across the border. Similarly, since the troubles began in Sri Lanka, hundreds of thousands of Tamils who felt they were facing danger or persecution fled to Tamil Nadu, the Tamil province of India. Now, that's a very interesting point. You don't need a expensive smuggling operation to take a boat on a 30-kilometer voyage from Jaffna to Tamil Nadu. It happens every single day. And I'm not saying that people should go there, but they do go there by the hundreds of thousands. And so why do they need to come to Canada? Last week, CBC, the National, did a major report on Tamil refugees who have protection status in India, in Chennai. They went and interviewed them, and these fellows said that they had paid thousands of dollars to a smuggling syndicate to come to Canada. Now, if they were to come here, they would not be fleeing persecution because they have protection. They have protection in India. And in fact, they would be passing through another country where they would be free of persecution, probably Thailand.